device sell-through sellout activation report. The objective of this report is to do an estimation of SKU wise closing stock at outlet level and understand how many days of stock he is holding. This report also calculates suggested order for SKU for respective dealer based on stock norms defined for SKU. Sales executive can take a printout of this report and discuss about the suggested order with respective dealer. Dealer closing stock is calculated based on one-time opening stock entry by RDS for a specific SKU and dealer. Addition of sell-through during the period and reduction of activation or sellout results in closing stock. To make this happen, sales executive need to collect SKU wise one-time closing stock from the outlets. Stock should be collected for all the SKUs for promoter stores and only for activation models like Lumia and X for non-promoter stores. This is one of the very interesting report and which will be very helpful for the sales executive to plan and collect orders from the market. Let's understand how it works. A new functionality has been added in Partner Acumen to update one-time dealer-wise, SKU-wise closing stock. We also have a provision to correct the closing stock at any point of time based on the SM report. Here is the formula for calculation of the closing stock. The one-time stock, one-time closing stock which has been entered for a respective SKU for respective dealer will be treated as the opening stock. After that point of time, whatever sell-through is happening, that will be added into that. And for activation models, we will reduce the activation and derive the closing stock. For rest of the models, for promoter stores, where the sellout is reported, we will reduce the sellout and find out what is the closing. In case if activation and sellout, anything is not reported for a particular model for a particular dealer, then we cannot calculate closing inventory. Let's have a look at ADS calculation. ADS stands for average daily sales for respective SKU by respective dealer. For activation models, ADS is calculated based on activation data. For rest of models, ADS is calculated based on sellout data. To calculate ADS, based on two dates, the date on which we want to calculate the closing stock, we take previous 28 days of activation and divide it by 28 to get average daily activation. Similarly, in case of sellout, we are taking previous 28 days of sellout divided by 28 to understand what is the average daily sellout. If we do not have activation and sellout information, we cannot calculate ADS. Now, we have closing stock and we have ADS. Now we have defined norms in the system. So for example, if any dealer, we can fix a norm that for this particular SKU, this dealer must have 7 days of stock. Then we can calculate suggested order. Now suggested order is equal to stock now multiplies by ADS minus closing stock. So just to understand it better, if we have a 7 days of stock now and ADS is, let's say, he is selling 2 pieces per day. So 7 into 2 is 14 pieces of stock he should have. If he is having already 5 pieces of stock, then another 9 pieces of stock can be sold to that dealer. So this is how we are calculating suggested order. Now let's have a look at this report in dynamic reports module. Go to sell-through sellout activation reports. Select device sell-through sellout activation. Click on load filters. Filters associated with this report are loaded here. We have a filter for from date and to date, wherein we can select the period for which we want to generate the report. As I told you, closing stock in this report will be based on the to date. You can generate this report based on model or SKU. We have various filters like channel. We can generate this for a specific channel. You can generate this report for a specific sub-channel. Output of this report can be based on value with tax, value without tax, or volume. We can generate this report for promoter stores as well as for non-promoter stores. Similarly, for a specific promoter type also. The filter of display all dealers, yes and no. The relevance of this filter is that if we have collected closing stock for limited number of dealers for limited number of SKUs. For example, out of 500 dealers which exist under that RDS, if closing stock has been collected only for 100 dealers and only for 5 SKUs. So when we say display all dealers no, in that case it will display only those 100 dealers and the output will be only for the SKUs for which stock has been entered in system. And if we click yes, then the output of this report will display for all dealers, but dealer opening stock and closing stock will not be displayed in this report. Output will simply display sell through, sell out and activation. The output will be outlet wise, model wise, sell through, sell out, activation. We have product category filters in this, wherein we can even select the specific model for which we want to view this report. So let us take an example to generate this report for the month of November. Select from date as 1st of November, to date as 30th of November. Just click on generate. So now the output is there on the screen. We have dealer code, dealer name. We have channel, we have sub channel, we have promoter type, we have model code. Then we have opening stock value. You can see the output of this report contains only 48 rows. It means the opening stock, the dealer closing stock which has been entered is only for a limited set of dealers and only for limited set of SKUs. So let's have a look. We have opening stock in this column. Then if any sell through has been reported, comes here. Sell out is coming here. Activation is coming here. After entering the opening stock, if any adjustment has been done, in that case the adjustment plus and minus. Adjustment in dealer closing, that one time closing which we are entering. If it is done, it will reflect in stock adjustment plus or minus. And then finally the closing stock will be calculated. So as I have explained in the formula, the closing stock is opening stock plus sell through minus activation in case of activation module as sell out in case of non-activation modules. Plus minus if any adjustment has been done, and then finally we arrive at the closing stock. After the closing stock, we have ADS and DOS calculation. ADS is average daily sales. Average daily sales is again based on the previous 28 days of activation or sell out. These previous 28 days are counted before to date. Then we have DOS. DOS is actually days of stock. Closing stock divided by ADS brings the DOS. We have recommended DOS, which is recommended days of stock. We should have at least 7 days of stock for this particular thing. We should have 10 days of stock for this particular dealer and this particular SKU. Based on the recommended days of stock, suggested order is generated in the system. We can take this report to Excel. Just click on export to Excel to do further analysis. Click on save, click on yes. Now the output is available here in Excel. We can filter it, and if any further analysis which we want, we can do in this. Let's have a quick recap again. Device sell through sell out activation report. The objective of this report is to understand, estimate what is the closing stock of a particular dealer, and based on some standard norms, system will generate a suggested order which a sales executive should discuss with a respective dealer, and basis this suggested order, he should take the order from dealer. So this report is a supporting hand for the sales executive by providing some detailed information in terms of the what is the stock which dealer is holding and how much stock can be supplied to him. The calculation of closing stock is dependent in three parameters. First is the closing stock which should be collected by the sales executive, dealer wise, SKU wise. Second is that we should have proper sellout information which is flowing from SATA. And in case of activation models, we should have the complete activation details which is flowing from DAR. Basis these three parameters, dealer closing stock is calculated, and based on the dealer closing stock and using the stock norms and average daily sales, we derive what is the suggested order for respective dealer for respective SKU.